been a while since the last project update, but I've been beavering away in the background. A few little tweaks here, a few little upgrades there. So in this video, I'm going to talk you through what I've been doing to the Boxster GTS over the past few months and share a few thoughts with you about how I plan to improve the car during the year ahead. Welcome to Project 981 and welcome back to the channel. So this is my winter update video for you. 2025, it's been a fair few months since the last update, but I've been busy tweaking and improving the Boxster GTS. So I'm going to talk you through what I've been up to. And by the way, most of the things I've done to the car I've made separate videos on, so do go and find those. If I mention anything you're interested in, we'll start at the front, work our way to the back, and at the end of the video, I'll talk about some of the things I plan to do to the car in 2025. So I've spent a fair bit of time under the Boxster's bonnet over the past few months, various jobs which needed doing, which are now all done. The first was to replace the clutch suction line, which is the hose which runs from the brake fluid reservoir, confusingly because they are common. They have a share of common reservoir. So the clutch suction line goes from here down through the bulkhead, provides the fluid circuit for the clutch actuation. My car's a manual. That had failed, it was weeping out, I'd lost brake fluid, so that's been replaced. Sticking with hoses, the next job was to replace this hose here, which provides the screen wash to the jet nozzles here and there, here and here. Took those out too, gave those a bit of a clean, so that was all straightforward and nicely done. I should actually mention tip from friend of the channel, Justin. There's a little hack you can do to modify the clip which holds it in here to reduce the angle that the hose emerges from here, which reduces the amount of flex and therefore diminishes the risk of failure. But I'll probably do a separate short video on that in due course. So that's been replaced, and the third major job under here, actually I say major, it was pretty quick to do, is replacing the filter here, the pre-cabin filter which sits in this box here as part of changing all the air filters. So that was a 5-minute job which went smoothly. Otherwise, just keeping on top of the dirt and grime in here so you can see what's going on, making sure everything's in tip-top order, which it is. So happily completed all of those. Let's move to the cabin. So welcome to the Boxster's lovely cabin. The roof's still up because it's a bit wet and windy today, unfortunately. So continuing the filter theme, I then replaced the main cabin filter, the air filter, which sits under the passenger footwell beneath the glove box. Once you've got the fiddly fasteners off, which cover the baffle, it's actually quite an easy job to do. I then replaced my original 981 rear view mirror with the one from the 718, which just has a slightly cleaner, better shape, and I've really been pleased with that. It just works perfectly well, nothing wrong with that. And then I moved on to some PWIS coding, various tweaks, bits and pieces with that. The main thing from a driver's point of view was changing the power steering map. I played around with the GT3 map and I've settled on the GT4 map, which is the next best, if you will, for me, the one that was available in my car, and that's gone in really smoothly. Very happy with that too. And then a few little bits and pieces to do with the onboard computer, effectively the right hand gauge in the Boxster and the Cayman, and indeed the 911, principally enabling the auto rain sensing wipers, which has a sensor up here which you need to enable through PWIS, and then the menu to control that, and also modifying the parameters which display the coolant, the water temperature as well, so you get a true reading there. So small tweaks, but satisfying to do, and just makes the car a little bit more personal to me. So that's all good. Needless to say, the rest of the car inside here, just keeping on top of cleaning the Alcantara, bit of a hoover, a bit of a brush. Otherwise, everything else is looking pretty good. So round to the boot of the Boxster, and the last of the filter jobs was the two engine air intake filters, get that right, which sit here and here. So it's carpet out, panels off, filters out, replace, put back in, and I had a nice quick tidy up too. I also took the opportunity to just take off and check the gas struts. There's one here, two on the bonnet at the front, just to check they're working, just to tidy up, clean and tidy up the knuckles that they sit on as well. Quick, easy job. So with those jobs all done, the car is ready for its service. Now I've done the air filters myself, so the service didn't require that, but all the other bits and pieces you'd normally expect are needed. So we'll cut to that in a mo. But otherwise, those are the main winter jobs all done. Now let's just talk briefly about YouTube and 4K. So a brief interlude about making YouTube videos. And when you make YouTube videos, you get lots of stats about who's watching, how they're watching, and where they're watching from. And one of the things that I've learned, it's pretty obvious, is that most of you, or indeed a good half of you there or thereabouts, are watching me on your televisions rather than tablets or phones, which I'm amazed by, but there we go. Thank you very much. You tend to watch in the evenings as well, which is great. Sit down, glass of your favourite tipple, watch some YouTube videos on the big screen. So I've decided to try and start making my videos in 4K, because if you're watching on a bigger screen you need more resolution. So this is the first video I've made in 4K. Let me know in the comments if you notice any difference. I hope you do. The other thing to say is that fully a third, it does vary month by month, but fully a third of my viewers are from the USA, from America, and a few more from Canada, which is lovely. So hello to fellow North American Boxer and Cayman owners. Great to have you along. And if I do occasionally mention something in centigrade, I'll try and drop the Fahrenheit in for you as well. So that's all that. So hopefully 4K is given a little bit of a sharper edge to the GTS, and that'll make viewing more enjoyable for you all. So I've got a couple of outstanding winter jobs to do, which I haven't mentioned before, but I'm going to mention now. So the glove box light, that is to say the light in the glove box, has stopped working. The bulb is fine, the light fitting is fine. I think what's broken is this tiny little micro switch which sits in here. This is the activator hinge effectively for the glove box, and it basically, there's a little switch in here which, as you shut it, disables the electric circuit and turns the light off. When you open it, it enables the circuit. So I need to take the glove box out and replace that. And I've got a couple more of these lovely boring sill plugs, which if you watch my drain plug removal video you'll know all about. Two more have fallen out, so I think it's the housing which is now at fault, so I've got a couple of replacement ones for those. Putting that off because it's a bit of a pain to do that job, but those to do. So two sill plugs, glove box, micro switch, and then we should be all set for the summer. So welcome to the GTS, and I'm just on the way home from William Francis. The car's just had its major service, slightly overdue, but all now very much done. And I'm coming home the long way. The light is lovely, the roads are dry, it's 5 degrees outside, so it's still quite fresh, but the car is running really well. I wanted just to get a bit of temperature through it all, just give it a bit of a shakedown, having had the service, just to enjoy the drive really as well. So what have we had done? Well, I've previously done the air filters myself only a couple of weeks ago, and there's a full video on that if you want to check that out. We've also coming up to 10 years and a couple of intervals for some of the consumables on this car. So what does that mean in practice? It means I've just done the gearbox. I haven't done the gearbox oil, that's coming up. I've done the spark plugs, so 6 new plugs, and done the coil packs as well. I don't think this car has had new coil packs since it was built. Well, we're just sitting just shy of 52,000 miles, so I thought let's do those as well at the same time as the plugs. So that's all great. Oil change, new filter and seal and plug as per. The V-belt, the accessory belt, was checked, that's fine, that's within the 4 years. I think it's 4 years for those. And so I need to do the gearbox oil at some point. Technically that's 12 years, the car's 10 years old, but I'm going to need the clutch replacing later this year, so we'll do that at the same time. And then just general check over the car, just to make sure everything's in order, reset the service intervals with the P-Wist and so on. So car is lovely, very happy with that, and it basically means now we're good to go for the next 3 or 4 months with some good driving. Now what I didn't have done was the brake fluid. The guys did check the moisture content. It's a posh word for that, can't remember what it is. So check the moisture content, they're fine. I do need new pads in the front, but we're just at that point now, so it's not the end of the world. But I'm going to get the brake hoses upgraded, some braided lines. I want to put the stainless steel nipples on, bleed nipples, so I'll do that in a couple of months' time. Something else to look forward to for the channel, but in the meantime everything is looking good. So I'm just heading onto some favourite roads, and I'm going to talk you through a few other things. So one of my jobs just before Christmas was to go back to the guys at Pi Performance to get the power steering map change, and I'm now driving home. Here we are in mid-February, and I've got the GT4 map, and to be perfectly honest, it's bang on for me. There's resistance, you kind of know when the wheels are loading up, but it's not too much. You don't have to actually manhandle the steering wheel. It's a really nice amount of weight, feels about right, and certainly at slower speeds, car park speeds, urban speeds, it's more than enough assistance to do the job. So I'm very happy with that. The other thing I've got, which I've done, is to replace my rear view mirror, point to the right place, and that's great. I can see out, it's perfectly clear. I've left the wind deflector in, that's tinted, light tint, so that hasn't made any difference. It's perfect. And yeah, we're all looking pretty good here. I'm in sport mode here, so that is a manual down change, and the car is very much enjoying these dry, cold but dry roads. 75 degrees, but yeah, really nice. Just going to set the car up for a few little bends here, and my T's and P's are good, so I'm going to give this a bit of a aggressive down change around this corner, and we're just down into a village, so I'm not going to be antisocial or illegal, and I'm going to just ease down to 30 miles an hour. And just the steering is just nice there. When I started my power steering journey, I described the steering as being excellent if you had no prior knowledge of Porsche steering, but a little bit, I think I said a little bit lacking in character, just very, very effective. And I mean, around that corner there is just the perfect weighting, 5 miles an hour, 10 miles an hour. And now it's just got a little bit more resistance, so you feel that you're actually part of the process of steering it. So I'm very happy with that. I'm not going to go on too much more about steering because I've done a big video on that, and it is what it is, and I like it, and it suits the way I want to drive the car, so that's great. One of the things to remember this time of year is quite a big temperature change, diurnal, day to night, and also oftentimes day by day. When I checked my tyres this morning, it was basically -1, and now it's a little bit warmer than that, and the tyre pressure is a little bit higher than I'd ideally go for, but it's fine. Anyway, we've got a nice bit of evening sunlight. There's a bit of traffic, but I'm not going for a PB down this road. Just going to enjoy the lovely balance of the car. I'm in sport. The PSC is working beautifully. The car's feeling really nicely balanced, and I've just got a very loose grip on the wheel. As I say, I can feel what's happening now because of the revised map. Nice fast corner coming up, constant throttle, look through the bend, just so good. I've got to say, it's one of my favourite bends actually. The car feels so settled through there, and yeah, there we go, lovely bit of Porsche braking, and I think that really does put a big smile on my face. Down to a familiar junction, and we've got a car to get out ahead of. So let me just talk about some upgrades that I'm planning for. Well, I've got a lot of upgrades planned, not all of them probably for this year, but I definitely got a few things that need doing. So the brakes, as I mentioned a moment ago, need doing, so we're going to put braided lines on those. I'm going to leave the discs and pads standard. I'm very happy with the way the car stops. I'm not tracking the car, so that all feels pretty good to me. The clutch is on the way out, and to protect and preserve the life of the flywheel, we need a new clutch, and so that'll get done. As I mentioned a moment ago, there's an opportunity to change the gearbox oil at the same time, and I might even at that point I think you have to loosen off the exhaust system, but even if we don't, I'm going to just get so Charlie at William Francis does a really nice black satin powder coat on the GTS's twin tips. He showed me one and they look fantastic. Mine's quite tired, so we'll do the GT tips as well. And then I've got ideas for some spacers on the wheels, just pushing them out a little bit. I've got my eye on some 718 chassis bracing, which Test Drive Scotland sort of introduced to me. So a couple of bits on the back axle there, as it were, the back chassis pickup points. Possibly the X73 anti-roll bar for the rear, which does sound quite good as well, liking the sound of that. And then, yeah, down the road, some engine bits and pieces. I do need to get myself some Zun Sport grills for the front, and on it goes. Oh, and the wheels. I want to get the wheels redone. I want to put the black stems on because these wheels were originally silver and somebody redid them in black, but they didn't do the valve stems. And the tyres are kind of coming up to 5 years, and typically there's plenty of tread left on them, lots of grip, but 5 years, you know, they're starting to get a little bit hard. So I've got the Eagles on here, the asymmetric F1s. I've been very happy with them actually, but I'm thinking maybe the new Sport Conti 7s, possibly PS4Ss. Then there's the whole, do you go with an N-rated tyre or not? I don't know. Right, last little punt up the hill. Let's just drive the car. Up we go. Now, people talk about the long gearing in these cars, and it does have long gearing. Weirdly, I find that you can leave it in a gear, and there's so much power, you just drive it like an automatic. So I'm not really going to bother changing gear up here. I've got plenty of rev still in hand. I'm getting some lovely tone. Oh, we've got a bit of traffic, that's a shame. But I'm then able to focus on steering and braking and balancing my car and not having to worry about gear changes. Now, don't get me wrong, I love a good gear change. Down, up, like that. Quite a lot up. Second gear. What's not to like? That's why I own a manual. But actually, down a certain type of British B road, which is to say a back road, you can put the car in third gear, and it's just use that gear. Just get your head, look down the road, get your head in the flow. Don't worry about the transmission. Just really enjoy the balance and the steering and all the lovely things we know that our Boxsters can do. So, yes, if you're driving on track, or maybe you really like to wind the engine out regularly, the long gears, yeah. But I think drive around that. Take advantage of the quality that also provides, which can be really enjoyable. Anyway, that's my gearing chat. We've driven up the hill. I think that's enough from me. So from the inside of the Boxster for this particular video, thank you for watching. I hope you've taken pleasure in seeing me drive the car, now fully serviced, ready for 2025, and I will see you for the next one. Take care.